if we look at sporting stances, let's take boxing to start. Now, boxers will tend to square off their stance a little wider, okay? So why would a boxer be okay with standing this way, okay? As far as the feet are concerned.
Work behind his legs.
Okay? Does a boxer have any concern about getting hit below the belt? Getting kicked in the groin?
Or using his feet.
Or using his feet, right? He wants kind of his feet underneath his shoulders, and he's moving this way. He's not concerned about getting kicked in the groin, right? If we look at like point karate or taekwondo, a lot of times will orient more this way and then work trying to score points and to keep their body and torso away so that points aren't scored on them. Now, let's look at this, okay, from a combative sense. What's wrong with this posture? Moving this way. My C-spine, my back is already turned towards the guy, right? Let's look at something like wrestling, which is once again a more kind of a square stance. I hunker down. You'll see this kind of stance in BJJ a lot of times. So I'm looking for single leg takedowns. You know, somebody encroaching in my space and trying to immediately take me down to the ground, right? So I'll lean forward. I'll try to keep him from moving and coming in at my legs. So what's wrong with this position from a combative standpoint, from a street fighting standpoint?
Pull you down.
I can get pulled down. What else?
Back here, your spinal.
Once again, my C-spine, right? The back of my neck is open again.
You're focused one way.
I'm focused one way, right? I'm focused in front of me. What if somebody's coming up behind me?
You don't see all your surroundings.
It's a big problem, isn't it? So I could look at several other sports, but you can see that everybody's kind of got their own stance, the way they're setting up the fight. Now, on top of looking at how somebody is standing, you're looking at inherent weaknesses and how they're standing. In each one of those fighting stances, the very first thing that has to happen, if there's time, is I want to conduct like a bit of an intelligence operation on somebody. If somebody is standing this way with their feet squared, facing me, and we're in a combative situation, what's my priority? What's the very first thing I should be looking at on the street? Anything up this center line. He's giving it to me like a salad bar, right? All the way up. Groin shots, anything all the way up, especially groin shots. If I look at it also, where's his weakest point? Okay? Where's my strongest points from this stance here, from like a classic boxing stance? Where am I strongest? Kind of pushing into this leg or pushing into this leg, right? So I'm really good at like working and coming forward, right? Where am I weakest? Right back here and right back here. Very first thing I always want to look at is where's his weakest spot. If I stand here, where am I strongest? Where would be the silliest place to attack me? Straight in, right? Where would be the best place to attack me? Here or here, okay? I'm wide open. Wrestling perspective, if I look at it, okay? I'm right here. Where would be the stupidest place to attack me? Basically here down, unless I'm talking about kicking somebody in the head, right? But if I look at like oblique movement, anything coming around me, pressing down from above, okay, a lot different. So what I like to do is kind of look at a stance from the line of combat, from the attack line, standing opposed on this line. The very first thing I want to try to do is put my front foot, and it can be left or right. I really am not dominant one way or the other. I practice both ways, and there's theories behind having your weak hand forward or your strong hand forward. Bruce Lee fought a lot with his strong hand forward because once he learned how to put a lot of power into a jab, he didn't need that back hand as much. You can cultivate that kind of power. But I want to start with my toe oriented on that line of attack. So wherever my opponent is, Brian, go ahead and just stand on right there in front of me there. Just right there. So I want to assume a stance where my front toe is aimed right up his center line. This toe acts like a front sight post on a pistol, okay, on a handgun. If I put my front sight post on him immediately and fire, and it's the only thing I look at, boom, front sight post, boom, I fire. 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to hit the target, right? Now, this is a generality. not every time will I have an opportunity to put my toe right on the center line. It's a guideline. It's a way of addressing him. If I put my toe on his center line, I immediately am starting to cultivate all my power. And especially if we look at his stance, he's more in like a boxing stance right now. My toe is just immediately already walking up his center line. I'm already where I need to be, as opposed to being in his stance, and I got to do something different to change to attack his center line. Make sense? So the back foot, if you look at like a classic sword stance, an Aikido stance, would take that line and do kind of like a T, where the front foot is sliding back and would hit middle of the foot behind me, my back foot. I turn my shoulders, I orient something like this. Sword training, not so bad. And it's really about this orientation here. What I like to do is set that foot about 10 inches off to the side, okay? Twist my foot, come up on that toe, cam that leg. So my heel is up, right? My leg is far enough out that I can swivel and turn my hip. So if a front kick is coming in, I can turn just enough to try to get my groin out of the way, but I'm not so defensive that I'm oriented completely this way, all right? So if I bring that toe out just a little bit, and everybody's just a little different, but feel it. But I really want to feel this launch pad on that back leg. I don't want the foot turned this way. I want it screwed into the ground so that it's very easy for me to start moving from that back leg. I can move front or back leg, okay? Screw it in, orient it towards enemy in front, right? Then we're looking at framing. Once we take a frame, I basically want to cover as much surface of my face and organs as I possibly can. I never, ever, ever want to lose this frame. Once I understand it, everything I do is going to come from this frame, and we're going to get there as we progress. I want my hands open. I want to be able to see, but I want it slightly below my eye so I can see peripheral. It's protecting my jawbone, which is absolutely important, on both sides. And then I pull my elbows together, okay, and hide the rib cage a little bit. So if a shot is coming into the body, I don't drop the hand to block it. I turn and screw my body. And because I have this leg back here, I can turn and screw without having to step so much, right? I'm just twisting this way. Wherever the punches are coming from, I'm just twisting in place, right? So once we understand that, screw it in, tight to the body, chin is down, forehead is facing forward. So a lot of times, guy's got a wicked jab, right? He's throwing that jab, boom, I can just put my head right into it, and it just does not feel good. I want my chin down, my hands blocking the rib cage, and as I begin to punch, my shoulder will continue to replace the frame. Okay? So everybody just take a minute, find the stance, start screwing that foot in, feeling this springy sensation, and just start moving forward around the room, keeping the toe pointed the direction you mean to go. Hands are up. Stop a couple of times, screw your body in, check your balance, okay? And just see how that feels to you, and change it as you need, and then I'll work with you individually, okay? Go for it.